we're going to be teaching you how to make butter pecan ice cream.
You can't just go in this from the beginning, from the top. Okay.
Action! Hi, sisters.
2,
Okay.
1, go.
Hey guys, welcome back to Heavy Metal Ice Cream. I'm Chloe.
And I'm Lila.
This week, we're going to be showing you how to make butter pecan ice cream. Gotta get situated.
Okay, do it one more time.
This week we're going to be showing you how to make butter pecan ice cream. Okay.
3.
Butter. Okay. This week we're going to show you how to make a butter pecan ice cream recipe.
Specifically, we're going to be showing you how to make a butter pecan ice cream with bacon.
Okay. We're going to walk you through all the steps of the process.
And let us know in the comments below, where was the best butter pecan ice cream you ever tried?
Alright guys, I'm ready. Thanks for waiting. Did you start without me?
No.
You started without me.
No.
Depression!
Alright, one more, okay? Before we dive in, we're going to list all of the tools, utensils, and bowls you are going to need to make your butter pecan ice cream base, your brown butter, your bacon, and your toasted pecans. 1 or 2 wire whisks, a medium to large stock pot, a sharp knife, a large mixing bowl, a ladle and a stirring spoon, fine mesh strainer, a wire rack baking sheet or foil lined pan for your bacon, a pan to roast your almonds, a saucepan to brown your butter, a cooling rack, a candy or digital thermometer, an immersion blender, a bowl or a bucket to store your finished ice cream base, a quality ice cream maker of your choice. Before we begin making our butter pecan ice cream base, we're going to make our bacon. The bacon adds a delicious salty contrast that enhances the sweetness of butter pecan ice cream. We're going to assume that you can make bacon without a full-blown recipe, but here are the basics for including it in your ice cream. Basically, find a medium thickness bacon that will not be too thin and flimsy in your finished product, but also, we do not recommend a very thick cut bacon either, as it does not freeze well at all. A medium sliced bacon cooked at 400 degrees for around 20 minutes should be just perfect. All ovens vary. Keep an eye on the doneness as you will want your bacon crispy but not burnt. Any doneness less than crispy will give you a gummy and chewy bacon consistency in your finished butter pecan ice cream that is not a pleasant result. At the same time, burnt bacon will give a bitter aftertaste that is not desirable with this ice cream either. Go for the sweet spot of a crispy dark brown. We recommend a wire rack baking sheet that lets the grease drip through to a bottom pan, but in a pinch, a good old foil lined pan will do just fine. Be sure to blot off any excess grease after cooking, as it will not freeze well when added to the final product. Once complete, we will set the bacon aside to cool, and more instructions on how to add it to the ice cream will come near the end of this recipe. Now we're going to toast our pecans. This is pretty much as easy as any part of this recipe gets. Simply turn the heat under a skillet to medium-high heat and allow it to get hot. Add your pecans after tossing them lightly with a dusting of regular salt or sea salt, whichever you prefer. This process is quick. Usually 2 to 4 minutes tops will get a nice, light toast on your pecans. If you can start to smell a nutty aromatic scent, they are done. Be careful not to overdo the toasting time. You can always return them to the pan if you taste one and feel they need a bit more flavor, but once they are burnt, they become bitter and not at all tasty. And since this is one of the pricier ingredients, you really don't want to screw this part up. Less is more here. Remove them from the heat and set to the side until later in the recipe. Finally, it's time for the secret weapon of our flavor, the butter in our butter pecan ice cream base. Some recipes will just use melted unsalted butter. Others will even just recommend a butter extract. But if you truly want old school, full-bodied butter pecan flavor, you're going to make the brown butter from scratch. This step is 100% worth your effort and really doesn't get any more simple. In your saucepan, you're going to melt your butter completely over medium-high heat. Be patient as there is a small bit of time, usually about 4 to 5 minutes, where the butter has completely melted and looks like nothing is going to happen. With a bit more time, you'll notice the bubbles at the top of your pot are starting to brown. At this point, you will give about 30 seconds before cutting off your heat. This is where the brown in brown butter comes in. The fat in your butter is toasting, and you will want to keep your spoon or spatula moving and keep it from burning. Just like your pecans, a little browning goes a long way, and your butter can burn and have a bitter taste if left for too long. We're going for a light medium color of brown and not black. Once you reach this point, even with your fire off, your pot can continue the cooking process, so you will want to get your butter transferred quickly to a heat-proof container. Be careful. Your butter will be molten hot, so be careful not to pour too quickly and get burned. You will see the fat from the butter settles in the bottom of the pan after cooking, and it can be quite stubborn to get out. But near the end, keep pouring and keep digging with your whisk to get all those delicious little bits into your container with the rest of the butter. If you look at the flecks in the finished product of our ice cream, it may resemble vanilla beans, but it is in fact the small bits of brown butter that is literally the one key flavor ingredient that sets this ice cream apart from any store-bought butter pecan ice cream that you've ever had. Whether it is from a grocery freezer case or a local place in town, if so-called butter pecan ice cream is missing these flecks and is simply tan, then all you are getting is a vanilla ice cream base made with melted butter and brown sugar. This is how you make the real deal. Now that we've prepped the 3 flavor components that make our butter pecan ice cream recipe amazing, a few things should be noted. Even though it's been suggested we do not make the mistake of over-candying our mix-in ingredients, it's possible to go over the top and do things like coat and bake the bacon in maple syrup and brown sugar. And we could also candy and praline the pecans until caramelized and salted like candy. But we like to remember that we are an ice cream company. Our butter pecan ice cream base is the headliner and the star of the show. We let the meaty saltiness of the bacon and the nutty smokiness of the pecans boost and complement our butter pecan ice cream rather than compete with it. This is a recipe where it's possible to overdo. To each their own, but we truly think you will be happiest with your end result by focusing on our star of the show up next, the butter pecan ice cream base recipe. The way we create our ice cream base is a method called a creme anglaise ice cream base. It's basically a custard ice cream base with the primary ingredients of heavy cream, milk, sugar, and the most important part in our eyes, egg yolks and lots of them. Next, we're going to teach you how to set up your workspaces into stations and where you'll need which items for each step of the process. This will help you stay organized instead of fumbling for items you need during time-sensitive steps of cooking your ice cream base. Station number 1 will be your cooking station. Here you will need your stovetop, your saucepan or pot for cooking the base, a whisk, and a good cooking thermometer. Always have hand towels or napkins ready in case of spills and splatters. Ice cream is a messy process in the kitchen. Station number 2 is your tempering station. You're going to need a bowl for the yolks, a whisk, a ladle, and a cooling rack to set your hot pot on during the process. Have towels ready as speediness takes priority over drips and splatters. Station number 3 is your flavoring station. This is where you will combine your creme anglaise ice cream base with whatever flavors that make up your ice cream. Next, we're going to list all of the ingredients for the butter pecan ice cream base, as well as the flavor inclusions and mix-ins that we've already covered and prepped. Heavy whipping cream, whole milk, granulated sugar, egg yolks, cream cheese, corn syrup, brown sugar, salted butter, toasted pecans, and finally, bacon. At your flavor combining station, begin slicing your plain cream cheese into thin slices. Cream cheese has a higher fat content, and since fat repels water, it makes it an excellent addition to ice cream bases to help prevent later ice crystal formation, which can give the final frozen product an off-putting mouthfeel. It also adds a full-bodied flavor in small amounts that gives our ice cream a unique taste that many others don't have. Begin arranging your room temperature cream cheese slices in a layer along the bottom of your mixing bowl or bucket that you've set aside for your ice cream base. You can now set this aside for a bit. Now we're going to begin combining our ingredients for the creme anglaise ice cream base. We'll start with the basis for all best ice cream recipes, which is heavy whipping cream. Always try to use the highest fat content possible, which is usually around 35 to 40% milk fat. And next up is either your whole milk or your half and half. Whichever you choose, just try to make sure you go with a ratio of 2 parts heavy cream to 1 part whole milk for maximum creaminess and butterfat content is your end result. Next, regular white granulated sugar is always your best bet for flavor. But since we're making butter pecan ice cream, this time we'll go with a ratio of 1 part granulated sugar to 2 parts light brown sugar. See the video description for exact measurements. The fourth component of your creme anglaise custard ice cream base is the most important behind the cream itself, the egg yolks. Most recipes call for an average of 4 per quart. We use a full dozen. That's 48 large yolks for every gallon of ice cream we make, and it's a huge factor in the resulting creaminess that we're becoming quickly known for. Yolks add a richness and a smoothness to ice cream texture that can't be touched by other ice cream cooking methods. It certainly won't make your recipe any cheaper, and it makes the process much more time-consuming, but the end result is beyond compare. You'll notice we don't pre-mix the sugar and the egg yolks. Sugar is hygroscopic and will pull the water out of the eggs, causing the egg proteins to clump, creating lumps in your mixture no matter how well you whisk. Instead, add the sugar to the milk and cream. We allow the sugar granules a few minutes to plump and fill with the dairy before applying heat for maximum flavor. We realize 90% of ice cream recipes do this differently, but we err on the side of caution and quality and allow the creme anglaise base to dissolve our sugar first. In the end, is one really better than the other? Probably not taste-wise, but it works for us. Cook the mixture gently to an internal temperature of 160 degrees Fahrenheit using your candy or digital thermometer to track the progress, stirring constantly. At this point, you will remove your pot from the heat and transfer over to your tempering station. Reaching 160 degrees will destroy salmonella if present. It will also set the mix to a slightly thicker consistency, making it ready to temper into your egg yolks. Temper your egg yolks by quickly ladling a small ladle of hot dairy base into the bowl of yolks one at a time, constantly whisking the entire time. Basically, if you can remember rubbing your belly and patting your head at the same time as a kid, then you can temper egg yolks successfully. The trick is to keep the whisk moving the entire time without stopping. Stopping can cause the hot dairy mixture to scorch the protein molecules, resulting in curdled yolks. And if you're wondering, yes, that basically means scrambled eggs. We do not want scrambled eggs in our ice cream, needless to say. This may seem like a super stressful process, but I assure you after a while it becomes second nature. Take a breath and remember above all else, keep that whisk moving. Once you get to a 1-to-1 ratio of yolks to dairy mixture, you will now have a tempered custard that is safe to pour back into your sauce pot. Now that we've brought our yolks up to temperature, we're going to transfer them back to the pot. Quickly and firmly grasp your bowl by both sides and pour as a steady stream back into your pot. But wait, let's go back and watch that in slow-mo. See the lip of that bowl? That's right, no lumps, chunks, or scrambles. You're looking for a nice, smooth waterfall of delicious custard, just like this one. Even though we use yolks that are pre-pasteurized and none of our dairy is raw to begin with, cooking everything together until it is all brought up to beyond 160 degrees assures safety and a significantly smaller chance of bacteria or foodborne illnesses. Translation? Yay for not killing people! You're going to transfer your mixture back to the stovetop. We're going to bring the mixture back up in temperature, this time to a sweet spot of somewhere between 168 and 172 degrees. This not only makes sure your yolks are brought beyond a safe 160 degrees, but it forms a thicker, creamier consistency of your base, resulting in better ice cream. Try your best to never go above 172 degrees, as this will start to degrade flavor in your ice cream base. Now that your creme anglaise base is complete, you're going to pour it over the cream cheese slices we prepared in our mixing bowl or bucket earlier. The hot ice cream base will begin softening the room temperature cream cheese even further, preparing it for immersion blending. After about 5 minutes of softening, grab your immersion blender and start to work with the mouth of the blender over the large chunks of cream cheese, working everything down into smaller, more manageable chunks, until finally, everything is good and blended together. An optional step, but one that we swear by, is to take half of your toasted pecans and let them steep in your brown butter while it is cooling down to room temperature. Now we will be immersion blending the butter into the butter pecan ice cream base, as this really disperses the pecan flavor even more deeply into your ice cream. Be sure when blending not to leave any pecan chunks and to pulverize them fully into the liquid base. This way the only pecans left will be the other half that we have already toasted and are going to pack into the ice cream after churning. This way you will have no limp or soggy pecans left in the mix, and all of the toasted pecans added in after churning will remain nice, salty, and crunchy. Also, make absolutely sure you spoon all of the brown butter bits that you possibly can into the base before blending. We don't want to leave any flavor behind. If you've watched our past videos, you'll see that one step in this recipe is not needed that we usually cover at this point. 9 out of 10 butter pecan recipes call for unsalted butter, but since we already use salted butter to make our brown butter inclusion, the extra step of salt is not necessary. Also, the mix of the brown butter with our brown sugar in the base is so perfect that this is one of the extremely rare cases that we use absolutely zero vanilla in the base of this recipe. It is perfect as is. Now it's time to begin bringing down the temperature of your mixed base. We're going to create what's called an ice bath. Simply find a bowl or bucket roughly twice the size of the bowl containing your ice cream base and fill it halfway with ice. Pour in about half as much cold water as you have ice, and then submerge your ice cream base bowl into the ice bath. Our goal is to bring the base temperature down to at least 40 degrees as quickly as possible. It is between 140 down to 40 degrees where bacteria like to reform. So the more quickly we can get to that temperature, the less danger there is of bacteria formation. Your butter pecan ice cream base needs a chance for all of these amazing flavors to bloom. You've now stored it in the fridge and allowed it to cool to a minimum temperature of 40 degrees. 4 hours would be a minimum, but we recommend at least overnight. It's now time to churn, layer, and pack your ice cream. Go ahead and power up your ice cream machine. Higher-end machines like this one will have a convenient pre-cool function that allows you to chill the bowl to below 0 temps prior to churning, and also allows you to do batch after batch instead of having to chill the bowl for hours between batches. Go ahead and pour your butter pecan ice cream base into the machine and begin churning per your manufacturer's instructions. Once this is complete, it will be about the consistency of a delicious milkshake that is maybe a bit too thick to get through a straw. Now we can pack our ice cream into serving containers, as well as add both the crispy bacon and the perfectly toasted salted pecans between the layers of butter pecan ice cream. You can see that hand packing ice cream is what separates companies like Heavy Metal Ice Cream from chains that do this with machines. We recommend at this point putting your ice cream containers back in the freezer for 4 to 6 more hours for a more traditional ice cream consistency. But if you like it more on the soft serve side, you're good to go and can eat it immediately. Alright, we'll make one of those work.
Ready, get going?
Ready, get going? If you enjoyed this video, make sure you click the thumbs up button to like it, subscribe, and comment down below.
Then click the bell next to the subscribe button to be notified whenever we post a video.
That 3,
Wait, what are we
2,
doing?
1, and thanks for watching
Heavy Metal Ice Cream.
Is this like a Satan thing?
Hail Satan.
And thanks for watching.
Love you.
Heavy
Heavy
Metal
Metal
Ice
Ice
Cream.
Cream. Hey, what's up, you guys? Yes, I'm Chloe. And I'm Lila.
And I'm Lila.
Roll my cup out of the shot. I didn't.
I guess
There we go, baby.
Alright, ready?
No, Chloe, you have to learn your lines. Let's go. Okay.